Okay, let's hear it.
In the Bible, when people spoke in tongues, it was always a real language that people could understand.
No, it wasn't. Paul talked about speaking in the tongues of angels, amongst other things that were actual things. So that can lead us to understand that speaking in the languages of angels is an actual thing that could happen, that did happen, that Paul knew about. Unless we're going to say that Paul was in a habit of making things up. And then why would Paul give instructions that the one speaking in tongues could ask for the interpretation from God if, like you say, it's only meant for people there who need a different language spoken?
But today when people speak in tongues, it's just gibberish that nobody understands.
That's not true. There are many testimonies of people who heard the gospel in their own language when a message was given, just like you claim is the purpose of speaking in tongues. And Eli Yoder is one of those.
This is something that many Pentecostal and charismatic churches do, but it's not right and it's not biblical.
It is absolutely biblical. You just even said it was in the Bible. So to say it's unbiblical is not true. Now, what you can say is that that practice has ceased and what they're doing is not biblical. But to say that the practice itself isn't, I think you need to be careful about how you state things.
And really, if your tongues aren't a real language, then it's not true speaking in tongues at all.
Well, who determines that it is a real language? Do you know every language that ever existed?
Why would the Holy Spirit want for you to speak a language that nobody understands, not even you?
Actually, Paul talks about that in this passage, that the Spirit prays for us. The better argument is to say that it shouldn't be done publicly if there isn't an interpretation.
Especially when you could just talk to people in the language that you both already know.
True, Paul does say that it's far better to prophesy, but he also says that he will do both, speak in the Spirit and with the understanding. And he even talks about singing in the Spirit and the understanding. So yeah, it's better to speak with the understanding, to prophesy, to speak with real words, but he still did both.
So even if the spiritual gift of speaking in tongues is still active today, it has to be a real language.
Yes, a real language, but with tongues of angels mentioned in the Bible, are you qualified to determine what is a real language and what isn't?
Not just meaningless gibberish.
No, none of us are qualified. It's between us and God whether or not we're genuine.